President Trump hosted Argentina's president this afternoon at the White House, where he answered questions about recent remarks on NAFTA. After threatening to pull the United States from the deal, the president walked back his statement, citing a desire to go back to the negotiating table. Over on Capitol Hill, meanwhile, a meeting of economic minds was underway at the Senate Finance Committee hearing room. Manila Chan was there today and joins us for more. What was this meeting all about, Manila?
Well, Ed, it was hosted by the Progressive Policy Institute, and keynote speakers included Congressman Ed Royce of California and Susan Del Bene of Washington State, whose both states, respectively, rely very heavily on international trade. But it was the economists that at the event that gave me this impression that it was a unanimous idea between that community that they favor things like NAFTA, TTIP, and TPP. And like you said, meanwhile, the president had this to say about NAFTA.
Rather than terminating NAFTA, could you please renegotiate? I like them very much. I respect their countries very much. The relationship is very special. And I said, I will hold on the termination. Let's see if we can make it a fair deal, because NAFTA has been a horrible deal for the United States. It's been very good for Canada. It's been very good for Mexico, but it's been horrible for the United States. And if you check my campaign, any of my speeches, I said I'll either renegotiate or I'll terminate.
A change of heart from President Trump after phone calls from Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in response to President Trump's most recent threat to withdraw the U.S. from NAFTA. But it certainly wasn't the first of its kind on the campaign trail.
NAFTA is the worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere, but certainly ever signed in this country. And now you want to approve Trans-Pacific Partnership.
And within the first month in office,
this defective transaction, NAFTA, one that should have been renegotiated many years ago, except that the politicians were too preoccupied to do so.
America's neighbors to the north and south had reason to fear that the economic rug might be pulled out from under them. And today on Capitol Hill, the Progressive Policy Institute hosted several economists and policy experts to discuss the state of business and confidence in the U.S. amid this climate of fear in our economy.
Things that should be in NAFTA but aren't. So, electronic commerce was not something that we did when NAFTA came into force. It's now a much more important part of all three countries' economies. Data flows are important, intellectual property protection is important. So these are things that could be very usefully added to the NAFTA agreement.
Professor Jensen also believes there might be a chance to resuscitate the TPP, but with a few tweaks. Another economics expert, Nancy McLernan, says that multinational corporations with operations here in the U.S. feel a bit nervous right now.
I think global companies around the world are concerned that globalization has become the fall guy for all of our economic problems. When you've had so many changes in the economy, including automation, connectivity, terrorism even, you have an environment right now that gives a lot of uncertainty, and globalization, unfortunately, has become the fall guy.
Labor unions across the U.S. have been at odds with economists on the subject of NAFTA, TPP, and TTIP, a populist movement which was heard by President Trump. But one thing's for sure, both sides are eagerly awaiting what's to come from a newly negotiated NAFTA. And, Ed, I asked some of the economists that were there why it seemed that there was this disconnect between that community and academics from the average everyday American, and why they seem to be against these trade deals. And what they alluded to was that all the people making the noise are the people that live in the swing states, and that those are the people that put President Trump in office to kill any such deals.
Well, does the president get some credit for working on it within 100 days? I mean, he's put some countries on notice about currency manipulation. He's talked about it, bad trade deals, tariffs. I mean, he's brought it to the table early on.
I posed some of these questions to them, and to be fair, a lot of them wanted to leave the politics out of it. So they wanted to just talk about consumer confidence and what was happening with everyday folks.
But a lot of people voted for Trump based on these trade issues.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Manila. Appreciate it.